Twitter has been a pretty wild place since Elon Musk took over. First, Musk decided to sell blue ticks for $8. Pranksters began impersonating public figures and companies. Millions were wiped off the stock of some of those companies, and advertisers, obviously, responded by leaving the site in droves. But now there's another exodus from Twitter, and this time it's from another group equally necessary for Twitter to function. The advertisers because it gives them the money, these people because they make the whole thing work. It's the company's staff. So the purge here began when Musk sent an email to the 3,700 Twitter employees who hadn't already resigned or been sacked. It said this, so it's titled A Fork in the Road. Going forward, to build a breakthrough Twitter 2.0 and succeed in an increasingly competitive world, we will need to be extremely hardcore. This will mean working long hours at high intensity. Only exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade. Twitter will also be much more engineering driven. Design and product management will still be very important and report to me, but those writing great code will constitute the majority of our team and have the greatest sway. At its heart, Twitter is a software and service company, so I think this makes sense. If you are sure that you want to be part of the new Twitter, this is the new hardcore Twitter, please click yes on the link below, and then there's a link to a Google form. Anyone who has not done so by 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, so that's Thursday, this was sent on Wednesday, of course, will receive 3 months of severance, so that's 3 months pay, but you'll be sacked. Whatever decision you make, thank you for your efforts to make Twitter successful. Elon. Now, as the deadline approached, hundreds of workers resigned, and the hashtag RIP Twitter began trending. And one former employee told the Washington Post this: I know of 6 critical systems, like serving tweets level of critical, which no longer have any engineers. There is no longer even a skeleton crew manning the system. It will continue to coast until it runs into something, and then it will stop. Now, next, in a possible further sign of the end times for the company, Twitter closed its offices and removed employee access. So the lockout will remain in place until next week. So staff can literally not go into the office. Now, Zoe Scheffler is a journalist at tech news site Platformer. She tweeted this about the closures. We're hearing this is because Elon Musk and his team are terrified employees are going to sabotage the company. Also, they're still trying to figure out which Twitter workers they need to cut access for. Now, disgruntled employees might not be too worried about being locked out of Twitter HQ because Musk seems perfectly capable of sabotaging the company all by himself. In any case, the implications of the lockout remain somewhat unclear, and it's not obvious that Musk followed through with firing anyone who didn't agree to be hardcore. Kylie Robinson is a tech journalist with Fortune magazine. She tweeted, what I'm hearing from Twitter employees, it looks like roughly 75% of the remaining 3,700-ish Twitter employees have not opted to stay after the hardcore email. Even though the deadline has passed, everyone still has access to their systems. If that's true, if they were to get sacked, it would leave Twitter with under 1,000 employees. When Musk took over, there were around 8,000. Some reports are even more stark, though. This is a post from a verified Twitter employee on the workplace forum Blind. Twitter down to 238 employees after the second purge. Now, by verified, this means that they got that account. So we know that this was a Twitter employee, but they're anonymous, so they could be, playing games, or it could be true. We don't really know. Either way, it seems Musk didn't manage to get buy-in from as many employees as he had hoped. This is a report in the New York Times about meetings as the deadline for that 5 p.m. approached. In his pitch, and this is to various people in the company who Musk doesn't want to leave, Mr. Musk said that he knew how to win and that those who wanted to win should join him, one person who spoke with him said. In one of those meetings, some employees were summoned to a conference room in the San Francisco office while others called in via video conference. As the 5 p.m. deadline passed, some who had called in began hanging up, seemingly having decided to leave, even as Mr. Musk continued speaking to people familiar with the meeting said. Now, Musk, if you don't know already, was forced to pay £44 billion for Twitter and is expected to pay £1 billion a year in interest on loans taken out to cover it. Yet he seems to be taking things in his stride. In reaction to the mass exodus, he tweeted this. So this is a meme of someone doing a V sign in front of a grave. He's put the Twitter bird both on the tombstone and on the person making the V sign. So I'm unsure as to what the implication of this. Twitter is happy that Twitter is dying or has died. I'm unsure. Aaron, what does this tweet mean to you from Elon Musk, and what the hell is going on in Twitter? Lots of people are tweeting, it could all be down within a week. What's your verdict?
Oh God, what's my money? I'm not an engineer, Mike. I'm not a computer scientist, and I'm not there. The way I see it is, and from what I've gained from people I've spoken to about this, is that the idea of it's just going to suddenly crash and go offline. Plausible, but it's not likely. If you have a massively reduced staff, what is going to happen is, of course, in the short to medium term, you get more and more problems. The site is more and more difficult to maintain, and obviously you can't develop new products, which is what Musk is talking about constantly. And then, of course, you're losing not just engineers, you're losing human resources, you're losing accounts, you're losing people that process payroll. I presume they've still got the security guards, but you know what I mean. So, and those are all very important positions. And of course, it's easier to recruit for some than others. What I don't understand, Michael, because I always, and I think people know this watching our shows, particularly on Friday, me and you, Michael, I think you and I both try and do this, which is we always try and adopt the complete opposite perspective to our own to maybe make a bit more sense of something, right? Put your shoes in the completely contrasting point of view. And I'm looking at the people who are the Elon fanboys, saying this is business genius. He's turning around a company. Well, it was making profit in 2018, 2019. He's now, he's done a debt leverage buyout. It's now paying £1 billion interest a year. I don't think that's a turnaround. But anyway, that's a bad start. But they're saying that, he's going to develop this incredible company, and actually they can do what they were already doing with far fewer people. And that the reason why you're seeing the media criticize and attack Twitter, and particularly Musk, is because ultimately they're going to prove there's lots of fat around Silicon Valley. There's lots of fat around what you often hear on Twitter, the PMC, the professional middle class. Obviously, there's some truth to that, right? There's waste in all sorts of bureaucracies. Pareto, who was an Italian sociologist, he said that you often find in big organizations, 80% of the waste comes from 20% of the sources. This applies to a bunch of other phenomenon too. I'm sure that's true. I'm sure it's true in the NHS, Michael. The problem is it's very difficult to determine where the waste is coming from. And often when you try and cut waste, you also sever many necessary things to keep the organization ticking over. So look, I try and listen to those people, but I still don't get an explanation as to why he's tweeting. And if you thought, this is, business sort of acumen 101, the guy's a genius. I don't understand the tweets next to the tombstone, the replies to AOC, the hectoring online. I don't get it. I do not get it. Surely if you were going to do really unpopular things, do them, don't talk about them. That's what I don't get. And that's what makes me think perhaps he doesn't have this Mephistophelian plan, as I think some of his supporters suspect.
Yeah, I mean, it is super interesting. One thing that's often said about him is he really wants people to think he's funny. So apparently he's always trying in Hollywood to sort of like make friends with comedians, and he really wants Nathan Fielder to like him. And so this buyout, wasn't necessarily a business decision. It's just he wants people to think he's funny, and that's why he's still tweeting. I think the other thing to think about here, regular viewers of the show, well, no, I don't, I think Elon Musk is a smart guy. I think what he did with Tesla and what he did with SpaceX is impressive. But people do change, and people do get high off their own supply. And I think the Elon thing is happening very much at the same time as the Kanye thing, right? Which is, I think both of them are geniuses in their own way, but both of them, like mega celebrity, being able to do anything they wanted, being surrounded by yes people, meant that they're not as good at the things that they used to be good at. And I think that's quite possible here. It might be that Elon Musk used to be quite a good business person, and now he's got so deranged with his own wealth and power that he's not.